Welcome to the Unhinged Vibes Podcast. Today is a very special day because we got the Three Musketeers, we got Boys to Men, we got the whole crew here. We got all three of us here. All right. So first off, with your host, my name is Caramel Thunder, Caramel 2Ls. I am here with.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Coastal, aka Coast Dynasty on Instagram, aka Helm of the Coast. But don't try to copy me because I am too legendary.
And the third amigo, who is...
It's Noslin 69ers. What up, what up? How's everyone going?
So this is the first podcast where we have all three of us, not in-house, but in-house on Zoom call. So discretion advised. I'm not going to edit this. This is going to be raw dogging. We're going all in. So if you're listening to this, get ready to bite the pillow because I'm not editing any of this shit. I want the au natural. Okay, so if there's technical difficulties, please note, ignore it. It's a fucking Zoom call. Okay, it'll cut out. I guarantee you, my internet's gonna cut out at one point, so I'm gonna have to re slice it together or whatever. I don't care, but it's gonna be a good freaking episode today. Why? Because we are going to be going over the DC Fandom event, okay? So we're going to talk about the main trailers, the movie trailers, and we're going to go into some more DC talk after, okay? But we are going to be covering the new Batman trailer, the first look for the Flash, Black Adam movies, okay? And then we're going to dip our toes into the Zack Snyder and Peacemaker trailer as well, okay? Oh, by Zack Snyder, I mean, we're going to go talk about the Justice League Zack Snyder version a little bit, okay? Because we got some people on this podcast who have not watched it yet, okay? So we're going to talk about that. But anyways, boys, how you guys doing, man? It's been forever. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, man. Excited to talk about this, man. I'm sort of... When you started bringing up how we're just going to go about this, I'm going to be really interested to see how this three-man pod is going to work. Hopefully we're not stepping all over each other. But yeah, you're right, man. I'm excited to go balls deep, man. Let's do this.
What about you, 69?
Yeah, no, I'm excited, especially talking about the Batman trailer. Just want to know what everyone's take is on that. And I know Coastal and you, Carmel, that you know my take on Batman.
Okay, so before we get into these questions, let's go around the room first. Which one of these trailers are you the most excited about after watching it? So Coastal, what about you? Which one of the Batman, Flash, Black Adam, the Peacemaker, like which one of those trailers are you most excited about before going into in depth?
So before we start, what I want to say is after I've seen these, I'm a lot more enthusiastic about the direction of that DC's taken. I was very much unenthused about how they would sort of went about trying to expand their universe. I myself am partial to DC over Marvel, so when I saw what they were doing, it really sort of bothered me in the early 2010s. So I'm actually excited to see all of these. The one thing, and it surprised me because it was the one that I did not think I was going to be excited about at all, is I'm actually really excited about Peacemaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll touch upon that when we
let's talk
get
about
there.
that in a little bit. But yeah. Peacemaker was the one that surprisingly got to me.
Okay, what about you,
yourself,
Nelson? Yeah, what about you, bud?
For me, it's going to be the Batman trailer. Why? You know, a lot of people have been talking about it. Read a couple of like takes online about it. So I'm more partial to the Nolan trilogy. So I just want to see if it lives up to, I guess you want to say, the hype of it. Okay. I know Nolan, I think, was pleased at how Robert Pattinson did as Batman. So if he says it's good, then I'm hoping it is.
Oh wow. Okay. And for me, I'm actually. This is good because we're excited about different things. I'm really excited about the Flash. And we'll touch upon it when we get there because I read the whole comic of that story arc as a comic. And I can tell you right now, that's probably one of my favorite storylines in all of DC. So I'm actually very, very happy they're bringing it to to the screen, the big screen. So I cannot wait to go into that. But we're gonna get into your topic, Noslin69, Mr. 69 himself. Okay, we're gonna go into the Batman trailer now. What are your initial thoughts? Let's start off with you, Costa. What are your initial thoughts on this Batman trailer?
Oh, what are my thoughts on Robert Pattinson himself, huh?
Yes, let us know.
I got to tell you. So a couple of things here. My initial thought is I'm always a fan of when they take when a movie sort of explores the space of a hero before they've become their fully realized self.
Okay.
So that's sort of what I'm excited about with this Batman. It's a younger Batman. From what I've read, it looks like it's very early in his sort of Cape Crusader days. I'm excited to hear those stories because that's when they haven't found who they are yet, and they're still discovering sort of their role in their universe. And that's what I'm excited about. I've seen the cast. I'm very excited about the cast that they've brought in. And the big thing about Batman, especially when he's got Riddler as his villain, one of my favorite parts of Batman is when they explore the detective part of him, the part that is that sort of digs into that puzzle solving, into trying to determine the whys. Just the world's greatest detective part is my favorite part. And I'm excited about the movie. The other thing that I looked at and I noticed was the movie is directed by Matt Reeves, who is a director who I'm not all that familiar with, but I did look up and I saw that he directed both War for the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh wow!
Both of those are fantastic movies. I've always been a guy who I've always went with, if you've directed something that I've enjoyed, I'll give your next project a shot. So as much as I didn't know him, that sort of gave me a little bit of a higher level of comfort knowing that it's sort of being helmed by a guy who's already been in the sort of comic book adjacent space and has made movies that I've enjoyed. So I'm excited. We'll see what Pattinson looks like. I never saw any of the Twilight movies, so I don't have any preconceived sort of prejudices against them.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we'll see what it looks like. It's unfair to compare it compared to the Nolan stuff. The Nolan trilogy is my favorite all-time trilogy in terms of any superhero movies. So I'm gonna go into it. If I go into it comparing that, there's no way it's gonna match it. So I'm gonna try to keep that separate and judge this on its own. And on its own, it looks pretty good. I mean, I won't be first in line for it, but yeah, I'll be there opening weekend.
No, that's absolutely awesome, man. Nelson, what about you? Like, what are your thoughts on the new take on the Batman, and what are your thoughts on Robert Pattinson, as Coastal said, Robert Pattinson as Batman?
Well, first when I heard it was him, right away I thought like Twilight, but I'm like, you know what? Let's give him a chance. We'll see how he does. Like for me, originally it was Tim Burton's Batman, like the first one. And to me, that was the best one until Nolan's came out. You know, I gave Nolan a chance. Like it was really good. Like especially when was it Joker was originally Jack Nicholson, and to me he was the best Joker. And then out came Heath Ledger, and he really did a good job of that. Also, you know, I sort of like Coastal touched on it too, is the detective side of Batman, because I don't think we really see much of that in all the other movies.
Yeah, you're right.
I've never really seen much. And also, when I first saw the trailer, I was thinking, you know, what if we were going to go timeline, what timeline would this be in? But I know each movie is probably going to be separate. Like this will be Matt Reeves, his take on his Batman. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, I'm going to go in not like Cole said, not comparing it to Nolan's trilogy, because like I said, Nolan's trilogy is probably the best trilogy out there as for comic movies. And no, we'll see how it is. Like I think it'll do good. I'm hoping it does, but like I said, I'm gonna go in there not expecting anything. So yeah, we'll see.
Honestly, like I agree with both your guys' takes. I'm gonna be honest. I agree with both of y'all takes. I don't have anything to disagree with. What after my initial thought, the first thought I that brought to my head essentially after watching the trailer. I watched it twice before I kind of decided on anything. So the initial thought that I thought of was this feels like it's going to be a Christopher Nolan story-driven kind of aspect with a Zack Snyder darkness to it. You know, that's what I took out of it. So the story is going to be like Christopher Nolan's Batman. You know, amazing storytelling, beautiful cinematography, everything else. But it's going to get that grit, that darkness, that real world feel of the Zack Snyder universe, right? So because both y'all have not seen the Snyderverse, okay, it's two different movies. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's two different movies. That the Zack Snyder one is super dark. It's nitty, it's gritty. I love it to death, and I feel like it's that plus the like. I think who's the director again? It is
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. I think he's taking all of the best things about all of the previous Batman movies and he's mashing it into one. That's how I feel. So this, because in our group chat, I told you like it feels like they're being a little too try hard, right? After I wrote that, I read it a few times and I kind of thought about it a little bit more. I was like, they kind of have to. They kind of have to, because with everything going on right now, like Marvel is in its own universe, and Marvel's like the NBA at the moment. Like they're the high ups. You got to reach real high to get to that level, right? And DC is more of the amateur, the second tier league at the moment, right? So they have to shoot for the stars, and I realize that now. It's like, yeah, this trailer has to hit home. It has to be a home run, because if it's not, then guess what? There might not be any good, or it might not be a continuation after, you know? So I had to take back my comment.
And on top of that, I mean, Batman's their franchise player, right? He's the guy they can't drop the ball on.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right.
He's tailor-made to, and not just that, but like the character itself is tailor-made for good movies. Like the thing is, it is hard to make a good Superman movie. It's hard to make a Boy Scout who's the best at everything. You know, it's hard to put him up against a challenge. It's hard to make anything intriguing with that. So I think that Batman, they have to take special care of it because they can't drop the ball on him. He's the franchise guy. So yeah, and I mean, he is the Dark Knight, right? We've seen what Neon Batman looks like. Neon Batman is not great. So
yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying in terms of being sort of a little trepidatious, because it is a very dark and gritty take so far. Yeah,
it should be.
Yeah, and it should be. But I sensed after you had said that, I had immediately disagreed. But then I had thought about it too for a little bit and thought, you know what, maybe, I mean, there is a line where it gets too dark, right? I mean, at the end of the day, this is still a comic book movie, right? It's still a dude in spandex fighting crime, right? So he's fighting a guy who, sends riddles out, right? Like there is a certain sort of campy, cartoony aspect to any superhero movie. So how serious it's that sort of idea of how seriously do we want to take this? How dark does it want to go? Of course, Batman himself is going to lean towards that darker side. I understood your concern there. I think without having seen the Snyder cuts, I liked what I saw from the trailer. So I'm pretty excited about what's coming up, what's coming down the pike with the Batman.
Yeah. So anyways, like when it comes to the whole Batman, I guess, movie, cinematography, history, like what was your biggest connection to Batman? Was it the movies? Was it the comics, Coastal? Was it the animated TV show? Like for me, it was the animated TV show. Like for me, it was that one, right? And I actually recently found out that instead of drawing on white paper, they drew on black paper to get that that dark feel. I didn't know about that until recently. I'm like, oh, so they changed the game. Instead of having like putting black ink to white, it was white ink to black. I'm like, oh, that's what made it look different. That's what made it look cool, right? So what was your connection to Batman, Coastal? Starting with you.
So here we go. This is gonna age me once again when it comes to this podcast, but My initial, very, very, very initial sort of connection. I seen the 1989 version of Batman, right? That was in and around. I mean, I was 9 at the time, so I did enjoy it. I didn't. It didn't change my world or anything. But the movie, or the one that I actually have a special connection to, is oddly enough the 1960s television series, because back in the day
Oh,
on YTV, which was youth TV, they used to play that all
Yeah,
the
they-
time.
for
They used,
real?
they used to constantly play the old 1960s series, even in the 90s. And that is sort of where I sort of latched on. I loved, Cesar Romero as the Joker with the face paint through his mustache because he refused to shave his mustache. Made it look even more ridiculous, right? Batman and Robin, Robin in his stockings and just, looking just the really corny sort of comic book sounds. That is sort of where my love for Batman started, which is funny because I do like the darker, grittier aspect of him, but it did. My love for him started with the campiest, cheesiest version of him that has ever existed.
That is funny.
So yeah, so the TV series for me, and then when I started getting into the comic books, I read Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller,
Good
and then
series.
I'm
Very
sold.
good series. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's those two. So it's the sort of the dichotomy, right? It's you've got the campiest, and then you've got the darkest version of him, and those are the two that combine to sort of make him my maybe probably my favorite superhero of all time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Nelson? What about you, buddy? Like, what is your background connection to Batman?
For me, actually, it was, and Coastal may know this, is if you remember the cartoon for Justice League back in the 80s.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, those ones, right?
Oh, no, it was
Oh,
no, this is like 80s, like
Oh, for
right before your born.
real.
There was one episode where I don't know if you remember this, Coastal, where the Justice League had their powers, I guess, taken away to make a super, like a super. I don't know if it's a super Batman or a super Superman or whatever, but what they did was they put him in, I think, in some kind of encasement where they were drawing their powers, and they whatever they had left, they gave it to Robin, and Robin was one that defeated the big enemy, which was pretty cool. It stemmed from that, and then it went to obviously Tim Burton's Batman. The next few, it was okay, but and then a friend of mine got me reading Killing Joke. I think that one was
That
probably
is a really good
Killing Joke
storyline.
that is probably my favorite, and then The Dark Knight by Frank Miller. But yeah, Killing Joke is probably my favorite.
I'm gonna be honest with you, the Killing Joke, like the end of that, like
Yes.
broke my heart. Like
What do you guys think? What do you guys
so
think about
emotional.
Alan Moore, man, he's a phenomenal writer, and I've always been partial to the comic book writers versus the comic book artists.
Mhm.
And yeah, just the Killing Joke. I'm actually really mad at myself right now. I'm not showing it, but I'm really mad that I forgot to mention the Killing Joke before you did, because that is absolutely right up there with Dark Knight Returns. So
You know what? It's actually really good that you got to see like a sneak peek teaser of like the Killing Joke in the Justice League movie with Robin's suit there. I was like,
yeah,
when I saw that, I was like, ooh, that really hit home. That was something that really hit me hard. I was like, ah, man.
Speaking of the Killing Joke, the ending, what do you think? When him and when Batman and Joker were just having their little dialogue, and then
Oh,
laughing. He told the joke,
okay.
they're laughing, and all of a sudden the laughing stops.
My opinion,
Mhm.
I think Batman killed Joker. That is my thought. That is my opinion. There's multiple theories out there about that last 30 seconds.
Yes.
And my thoughts were Batman, they're sharing a laugh.
Yeah.
Batman got to the breaking point.
Joker broke him, eh?
Joker broke him, and he killed the joke.
Yeah.
That's it.
do
Dead
you think?
quiet after that.
What do you think, Coastal?
I don't know. I don't really know what. It has been so long since I read Killing Joke that I don't remember those last frames. I honestly have blanked out after sort of the I do love the thesis that he's gonna make him break the one rule.
Yeah.
that he had set, and I love that. And I never actually have heard that theory that he kills him at the end.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I had never heard that until now, which is sort of why I'm kind of caught off guard.
Yeah.
After the
was
Barbara
one-
Gordon stuff, it kind of gets fuzzy for me. So
Mhm.
it has been
what
2
happened
decades since I
there
read it. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, sorry, man. I don't really have a thought into that, but could he have done it? Could Joker? I mean, if there's anybody who was going to break Batman, it would be Joker, right? And if there was
Yeah.
any situation where Batman could have been broken, it would have been that situation. So
for sure.
I definitely understand the reasoning behind that theory. Maybe it's my blinded sort of Bat fan glasses on, but I still want to believe that Batman didn't do that.
Do it.
Yeah.
You know what? I do think we all have to watch the animated movie of The Killing Joke,
Yeah.
and we should revisit this. And
I haven't
'cause-
seen it, so
Oh, it's
It's
Yeah.
it
good.
is beautiful. It's
Yeah.
a masterpiece.
I've only read the comic, so I haven't seen.
Like I'm gonna tell you right now, it made me cringe at some of the
Mhm.
stuff that happened
I think I know which ones too.
It's dark.
because
Yeah.
it's like
I mean, if it goes anything like the comic, it's very dark.
no,
so,
it's literally it's like a 1-to-1 port.
It-
So
it
it's like
it pushes the limit for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's seeing the stuff in moving picture was like
Yeah.
it's just
okay.
this is a very intense animated movie. It's just like what like I had to pause it at a few parts because it's just like this is wild. Like this
Yeah.
is oh
Let's revisit this then.
Oh, for
Let's
sure.
revisit
100%,
this.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on because that's a topic we can go talk about for ages. Okay, but starting with you, Noslin, how excited are you for this movie after watching this initial trailer?
You know what? I will probably say I'm about probably about an 8.
Oh, okay. Well, why an 8? Why an 8? Why'd you pick an 8?
But like I said, you know, the trailer, you know, the trailer did catch my eye, and really, like, if you have a good trailer, you can really catch, you know, the people's eye for sure.
Mhm.
And I remember, I don't know if I was telling both of you or someone else before that, a buddy of mine, what he would do when we would go to movies or trailers would come out is he would try and not watch any of the trailers. And even at the theater, like he would like put his headphones on and try not to see any of the trailers that come up, you know, because I guess he just wants to have that,
That fresh experience.
yeah, the fresh experience, the honest reaction when he sees the movie. He doesn't want anything, you know, he doesn't have any influence
Yes.
on the movies. But for me, I'm about an 8. You know, it is Batman, and the way the trailer came out, you know, the way the trailer was, it did remind me a lot of, like you said, a Nolan type of feel. Like it's dark. Like the musical score is somewhat similar.
Mhm.
And for me, just the overall feel of it, it reminded me of a Nolan movie. Now I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's like you said, it could be a take of Nolan's and Snyder's just mashed together into his own vision of what his Batman is. So
Oh, okay. Okay. What about you, Coastal? What do you rate this one? How excited
So-
are you?
So here's the thing: is after I finished watching it, immediately after, I said to myself, okay, 1 to 10, and I wrote down the first number I thought of, and I put 6.5. Which
Okay.
I mean, if we put 5 as average, right, and 10 as you're absolutely stoked, I thought that's fine. And then, but the more I talked about it with you guys, and the more that I sort of looked into some of the things, like finding out who the director was, you know, understanding a little bit more of the backstory behind it, I'm actually probably a little closer to a 7.5, which I want to, as much as possible, separate this from the Nolan trilogy, but there is still a lingering part of me that's sort of like, man, he ain't Christian Bale. He's not, you know. So having said that, I'm probably at a 7.5, and the reason it's at a 7.5 is really more a me thing versus what the trailer portrayed. I mean, the trailer portrayed what looks like is going to be a good movie. It's just I won't be the first one in line, but I'm definitely probably going to be there opening weekend. So
Okay.
I'm excited about it. I'm optimistic to see something good. DC has kind of dropped the ball, so I'm a little trepidatious because of that. But other than that, the movie itself on its own, the trailer by itself, it looks fantastic. I'm happy to see that it doesn't look like they dropped the ball on this one.
Honestly, I think I have to agree with both you guys. I'm probably gonna be the lowest one out of all you. All right, so I'm probably gonna be a 7. Probably gonna be a 7. I like how they shot the trailer. I like the scenes that they shown. Um, I probably would have given it a lower mark, only because they didn't reveal much about the plot. They didn't reveal much about the plot, but we also didn't get to see much about Batman himself. Right? We got to see a few action scenes. Some of the speech that Robert Pattinson says is kind of like slurred, or like he speaks so fast, like it's just one big word, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they clean that up for the post for the final part, but like some of the speaking lines, it's just, I don't know, it didn't come out clear. Like I didn't understand what the words he was saying. I had to watch it multiple times. Also, Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne did not look like the suave, the rich man, the womanizer Bruce Wayne. That's why I give it a 7, because when Batman is two people,
Yeah,
he is the vigilante, the Dark Knight,
100% agree.
and he is the womanizer. He's the rich man. That's my damn right. He's the Tony Stark, right? Like we got the
I
Batman
disagree.
part.
I
Well, like,
disagree.
well,
Let me tell you why
without the
after.
narcissism,
Let me.
but we saw the Batman part, but I want to see more of the Bruce Wayne part. But the Bruce Wayne part, he looked more like your emo kid from high school. He
Yeah,
wasn't proud. He was shriveled up. He looked like decrepit.
his hair.
His hair was greasy. Like,
Yeah,
for me, the Bruce Wayne brought it down to a 7.
I
But if
think.
we saw Bruce Wayne, I would have given it like an 8 or 9. What about you,
Yeah,
Kosi?
I think I agree with you on that. Like, basically, that might have been sort of what pulled me down as well. Is that I had mentioned before, the reason I love Christian Bale is because when I saw him in American Psycho, my
Yes.
immediate thought was, this guy can play Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
because you have to be able to do both. And you are absolutely right. That might be my chief concern as well, is can Robert Pattinson properly play billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne? Because he looks like he's going to be great as the Caped Crusader, as the Dark Knight. Can he play that aspect of it? Right, that's going to be interesting. And the only reason I was disagreeing with you, and I wanted to clarify this, is you were saying that Bruce Wayne is like Marvel's, or is like the DC version of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And I 100% disagree, because Tony Stark is Marvel's Bruce Wayne, not the other way around.
Okay. I
All right, let's
respect
get
that.
that. Let's
I
get that
respect that.
clarified real quick.
I 100% respect that, and I'll take back my words, because I 100% agree. No, I 100% agree with you. Because let's be honest, before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man was like a tier 3 character. Let's just be honest here.
The Avengers were their B team.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
So,
But
I mean,
now they're
yeah.
the A team. Like they're
Yeah.
the top of the line. So I
Yeah.
100% agree. 100% agree. Okay. So let's move on to the next trailer here.
Wait,
So
hold on a
this
second.
one. Oh yes, go ahead.
Matt Reeves, he also did Cloverfield, if you guys remember seeing that.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, that was a
Yes.
really good movie.
I had seen that too, but I never saw Cloverfield, so I didn't want to really bring that up for
It was
myself. But yeah,
it's actually
I
pretty
liked
good.
it. I
Yeah?
liked it a
Okay.
lot. I liked it a lot.
It had a mix of almost like I think J.J. Abrams had a part in that. I'm not sure, but it felt like a J.J. Abrams type movie as well.
Yeah,
Abrams is tied to the Batman too, and I'm not sure how.
maybe executive producer.
Possibly.
Maybe he's just
Yeah.
sending the money. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, moving on to the next one. This is the one that I'm actually really excited about, because the storyline that's one of my favorite storylines in all of DC. Okay, so the Flash. This is his, I believe, first movie, because everything else he's been in, Justice League, it's all cameos for him, right?
Mhm.
So this is his first movie. Let's start off with how familiar sorry, are you guys with Flash? Now I was going to start with you. Like, how much of the Flash do you know?
You know what? Honestly, not that much. The only, I guess, when I was, what was it? First time I remember watching an actual movie with the Flash in it was actually the Flashpoint Paradox.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah. So that is probably when I first saw him. Then I wasn't big into the TV shows, and even when I first saw the first Justice League. It I don't know. It wasn't interesting for me for some reason. But I'll give it a chance. Like I said, um, yeah, like I don't really know much about it except for Flashpoint Paradox and what the story is about. And if this is what the movie is going to be about, then I hope they do it. I hope they do it well.
Okay. What about you, Coastal? How familiar are you with the Flash?
So I have really no prior connection to this version of the Flash. The movies, the television shows, the cameos, any of that stuff. Like this actor who portrays the Flash, I have almost zero connection to any of this. The last time I actually have any connection to it is I'm not sure if you guys are, how familiar are you with the New 52
Oh,
from 2011?
I bought all of the issue number ones and I have them
Yeah.
in a huge freaking book. I
Okay.
love the New
All
52.
right.
That
So
is the stuff that I love.
okay, so that is the last time I know anything of the Flash, because when I heard about the New 52, that is when I sort of dipped my toe back into the comic book waters. That's 2011, I believe.
Yeah.
And that would have been like, yeah, that's about, I'm gonna say maybe 10, 12, 15 years after I stopped collecting comics. And it's about 10 years ago now, but that was when I dipped my toe back in. And because I'd heard that DC was sort of doing a giant reset, it was going to be their version of the Ultimate Universe, where they're starting over. There's going to be no decades of continuity that you have to deal with. So it was a good place for a fresh start. So that's when I read, and like you, I read every comic book that they had released for the initial 52. I read the Flash for about the first year or so, and then I just sort of fell off. It was too many comics, and so that's my connection to the Flash. Like Nelson, it's the television show, the movies didn't really grab me, but in a former life, I was a sprinter. I was a track sprinter. So fastest man on the planet is always going to get me. I'm in if you tell me that. So
that is absolutely awesome. Now, like for me, I really dove right in when the New 52 came out. I bought all issue number ones. They came in a huge I think compendium, I think that's what they call them, or something like that. Huge book. It took me like a month to read. It was so many issues, right? And then from there, it was seeing him in Justice League, the animated show, Justice League Unlimited, the animated show, which is a continuation, a bunch of the DC animated movies. I started watching the Flash TV show. I actually bought season 1. I never actually opened it, but I've only seen like maybe 4 episodes of it. But apparently it's a very good TV show. Like I love Arrow, the TV show, and this ties into Arrow. So I need to keep up with the game because it's still on right now. And apparently it's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So, but other than that, most of my stuff is from reading a lot of the original Flash comic books and watching a bunch of Flash animated movies. So this storyline, so wait, I'm asking you this question. Do you guys know what the story is about?
I have a cursory knowledge of the Flashpoint storyline.
Yeah.
But nothing too in depth. I just sort of have sort of the basic synopsis. If you were to write a 3-line paragraph, that's basically what I know.
Okay, Nalzan, what about you?
Same thing. Just if it's actually if it's going to be like the Flashpoint Paradox animated movie, then if that's what it is, then yeah, I have an idea what it's about. But again, whether that's it or not, I don't know.
Okay, so essentially for those listening at home, this movie is based on the Flashpoint Paradox storyline. So essentially, what happens is, now I don't know if they're going to follow it to the T, but this storyline made me realize how brilliant the storytellers are, how brilliant the writers at DC are, right? And I give them so much respect because this Barry Allen could be anybody here, right? Think of a loved one who's died. Would you go back in time to save that loved one? I guarantee you, all of us would say yes. All of us would
if
say
you had
yes.
the capability to, absolutely.
Right?
That's always the big question, right?
Yeah, and now that's what Barry Allen did. But because he did this, Superman did not land in America. Okay. Batman, Batman's parents did not die in an alley. It was actually Bruce Wayne that died in an alley,
Yep.
which means
Mhm.
Wonder Woman and Aquaman did not end up becoming part of the Justice League, and that Themyscira and Atlantis are at war with each other, right? And that is the storyline. It shows that you make a choice in life and you have to
Mm.
suffer the consequences.
Yes.
Right? And this whole movie was testing Barry's morals. This is why you did this. Because you wanted to save your mom. Everything else that you know and love no longer exists.
Yeah, it got turned upside down.
So now what do? Do you go back in time to stop yourself from stopping your mom dying, or do you ride it out?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
how do you sell that version of you on that
Yes.
on that idea of
Right?
don't save her? Like when that time comes and he can save her and you got to
Yeah.
convince him not to. How do you sell that? The thing is, I always have a natural affinity towards these butterfly effect style movies. Like I remember when we talked about our top 5 movies, one of my movies was Back to the Future,
Yeah.
right? And it's yeah, and when if your actions in the past will reshape the present, I love that. I love those stories. So hearing that that's sort of what this is going to be about has definitely made me a lot more excited about this movie than I initially was. Nelson, what about you?
Well, after watching the trailer and I guess this little chat here, but it hasn't changed. I guess my excitement for it. I'm still like I'll still watch it, but there's one part in that Flashpoint paradox. I don't know if they'll ever touch on it, but if they do, it'd be really, really good. And I wonder if they'll ever sort of, you know how Marvel has the what if. You know,
Yeah.
this could be a version of the what if, but spoilers out there. But the one part in that Flashpoint paradox animated movie was who ended up being Batman and who ended up being Joker.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
because Batman's father, Thomas Wayne, ended up being Batman, and his mother ended up being the Joker, all because of Bruce Wayne dying.
Yeah.
So here's a spoiler alert for you, Nelson. Have you looked at the IMDb cast for Flash?
No.
Okay, because
well, I know who. Well, I know that what's his name is in it.
Michael Keaton
Michael
as
Keaton,
Batman.
Michael Keaton as Batman, Ben Affleck,
Ben
as
Affleck
Batman.
as Batman.
So
we're gonna get
they are
multiple
going to
Batman.
touch on that.
Yeah.
So they are definitely going to touch on that. I mean, the Joker part I am not sure about, but they're definitely touching on the 2 Batmans for sure.
Yeah. Did you guys also see in the trailer that there were 2 Flashes in one of the scenes?
Yes.
And there was a Supergirl.
I did see Supergirl. You know what I saw was that the one who's going to be playing Flash's dad is Ron Livingston.
Oh, is it?
Really?
And Ron Livingston from Office Space, Ron Livingston from Swingers. And you know what? If you put him in that movie, I'm in. I'm in again. So I mean, prior to me watching this trailer, I had sort of a passing interest in Flash. Like if it's on, I'll watch it, but I'm not, I'm not clamoring to go see this. But after this, it's the hype train's getting there. It's starting to churn.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just hoping that they leave one Batman out, because I think having that one Batman in, I think will sort of do a disservice to the Nolan trilogy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now there's one scene that I 100% want, and in my eyes, it needs to be in the movie. It is the last minute of the animated movie and the last chapter in the comic book. So
before you go on this, just quickly maybe enlighten me on this, AJ. Or prior to the New 52,
yes,
is the Flashpoint storyline what ends the previous universe, and then they go into the New 52?
That I don't know. I actually don't know, because I wasn't really into the comics before that. I read this after the New 52 came out, right? So I didn't really know when this falls in regards to the release timeline.
Sure.
It'd be cool actually if this kind of reset everything, but I don't think it did. I think they just did a universal reset
Okay.
Just finish off your storylines. We're gonna start with the New 52, whatever else, right?
Okay.
So, but honestly, I think it would have been really cool. It would have been really cool. So, this movie for me is like the Loki TV show for Marvel. This is gonna open up so many doors.
Mhm.
There's no such thing now as one continuous timeline for DC. There'll be 20 different timelines. Like they said, each movie is going to have its own timeline or own universe, whatever else. And I can see that now with this movie. The one scene I really want, I don't know if you guys know, Noslin, you might remember it, but it is when Thomas Wayne writes a note to Bruce Wayne. And Barry, when he goes back to the future or back to his timeline, he gives the note to Batman. And that is the first time you see Batman cry.
I gotta watch that again. That is familiar, but I gotta watch that again because I remember something to that effect, but I gotta watch that again.
Yeah, and like if you pause the animated movie, you read the note, like you read some of it, and like it was a tearjerker, man. Like just think about this: you lost a parent, and all of a sudden your buddy comes back from the past with a note from your long lost parent. Oh man, just get me a whole box of tissues, bro. Like I'm not going to work for the next week. I'm crying for the next week, you know? So I really hope that's in there because I think that would be a great scene. I would love to see the acting chops for Ben Affleck for that one because I think Ben Affleck can pull it off. He's a very good actor. I think he can pull it off. I want to see how Ezra Miller's acting skills are because we know he's good with comedy, 100%. But how is he with serious content? You know, that's what I want to see because we know he's funny. I want to see how he can handle in that serious textbook thing. So, out of 1 to 10, Coastal, how are you excited for this?
So, I'm a little bit less excited for this movie than I am the Batman. So we'll go with a solid 7. This was not a movie I was going to see in the theater until I saw this trailer. So it did its job because now this is probably going to be something I see in the theater now because like I said, the butterfly effect style movies. I mean, I'm in. I've watched A Sound of Thunder, which is a terrible movie that also sort of does the butterfly effect thing. So I mean, you put that plot in, and then you top it off with, hey, it's a comic book movie starring the fastest man on the planet. You got me.
That's
I mean,
funny.
so I'll give it a 7 out of 10 on the hype scale.
I like that. What about you, Nelson? What are you, buddy? What about you?
You know what? I'm probably just gonna give it a 6. Just because it, like Cole said, you know, it's a movie that I wasn't really gonna see. Even with the plot line being what it is, even then, still, there's just no real connection for me with that movie. But I still will see it just to see, you know, how good it is or whatever. But yeah, I'm about a 6.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm an 8. The only reason why is I want to see the whole war with the Amazons and with Atlantis, just head to head, Lord of the Rings fight. Like this movie has potential to be as good as the big Lord of the Rings epic battle scenes. Like it has the potential. Now, will it get there? I don't know, but I hope it does because those fight scenes in Lord of the Rings are epic. If they can reach that epicness level, take my money. DC.
That's a real high bar.
It is
a real high bar you're putting on
that thing. It's a high bar, but
if they meet that though, if they meet it, look out.
If they meet it, it's game over for Marvel.
Yeah.
It's game over for Marvel. Okay, so that's where I am. That's where I am. Now, let's go on to the next one. Now, this movie was, I believe, 10 years in the making. This started off as a fan cast, right? Then from that fan cast, the actor was like, I can do this. I'm born for this role, right? And I don't know if you guys agree, but I do agree with him. He was born for this role. He was 100% born for this role.
It looks like him.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So anyways, let's go over this Black Adam, I guess, first look teaser trailer to the actual trailer coming up. Okay, so Coastal, let's start off with you. How familiar are you with Black Adam, and how excited were you to see this trailer, and how did you feel after? So go ahead.
All right. So with Black Adam, I'd never heard of him. until they had announced that The Rock was attached. I didn't know who he was, and which is amazing because, I mean, I collected comics very heavily between 1996 and 2001. So I don't know who he is. I have no connection to him at all. The further away you get from planet Earth, I'm going to say, in terms of your origin story, the less interested I am.
Okay.
So any of those sort of cosmic super beings, if you're stronger than, I mean, I already am not a giant fan of Superman. So if you're a guy who is extreme Superman, I'm already out. But
Okay.
so with this movie, it's a guy I don't know, with superpowers I don't care about, with a story I'm not familiar with. So I'm already out. And then I see Dwayne MF The Rock Johnson come on. And this guy can sell ketchup popsicles to a woman in white gloves. It is ridiculous how well he can sell shit to people.
Yeah.
You know, he is going to put his social media team, his marketing machine behind this thing. He's already got me sort of excited about a movie that I was almost aggressively against.
Wow.
So the fact that I even have a cursory interest in, you know what, maybe I'll watch the next trailer. You haven't sold me to get to the theater, but you've sold me to watch the next trailer, when this is the type of movie that I haven't seen any of the Thor movies for Marvel. I have not seen, I have not finished Age of Ultron. If you get to that level of sort of cosmic interference, I'm not interested. So the fact that The Rock, this guy, he's the reason I own an Xbox. So I'm part of me is impressed, but part of me is frustrated that this guy could just keep selling me on stuff, man. Like, he talks about that grind, that grit and grind, the clanging and banging that he does, and it's like, man, I hate that you can do this. So Black Adam as a comic book character had no interest, but Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Black Adam, it's got me raising my eyebrow, pardon the pun.
Okay. I like that a lot. That's good. What about you, Nelson, man? What about you, bud?
Same thing. I have no idea who Black Adam was. I think the only time I've ever heard of him, I think, was with Shazam in the old comics, and that was the only time I've heard of him. After that, nothing. With The Rock being Black Adam, like Coastal said, The Rock can sell anything. So I know his, like you said, his social media team is going to promote the shit out of this movie, and whatever for the most part, whatever The Rock has done has been gold. He'll have a couple of bad ones, but even then they're still like gold in the box office. So, I think that movie is going to be the biggest surprise, I think, for me, for sure. I don't know about you guys, but for me, for sure, I think it'll be a surprise. And I'd probably see that before The Flash.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
I like that.
The Flash, just because of the fact that even though I don't know much about The Flash, I have no idea what Black Adam is about, and that's why for me, I think Guardians of the Galaxy was really good, because it was a comic that I never really followed. I knew some of the characters here and there, but never really followed it. And when I watched it, it took me by surprise. So I'm hoping lightning strikes twice and Black Adam is it.
Having the lack of any preconceived notions is never a bad thing, right? When it comes to comic book movies. So I hear what you're saying there. There's no expectations when you don't know who they are.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. It's good that you guys are going into this with fresh eyes, right? Because for me, I know a lot about the Black Adam, right? I know a lot about him. I don't know if you guys ever played this game before, but it was an MMORPG on PlayStation. It was DC Universe Online. So I don't know if you guys have ever played it.
I played it a little bit.
I played it religiously. So there was a storyline with Black Adam in it, right? And also the main trailer has Black Adam in it. Also, I've seen a lot of comic books with Black Adam in it. So essentially think of Shazam. I don't know, have you guys seen Shazam?
No.
Movie, no.
Oh
like
my
I said,
You need to
at that
watch
point,
Shazam. Shazam is good shit. Because I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you right now, Shazam and Black Adam, they're not cosmic, right? They're like the same realm as what Wonder Woman is. They get their powers from gods,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So they get their powers from gods. That's why the Shazam thing, right? It's the
Yeah.
same powers as I forget the names for what the Shazam thing is, but yeah, it's earthly
So like
powers.
Saturn, Hercules.
Yes.
Hercules,
Yeah.
Zeus,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah, it's earthly powers or earthly
Right.
god powers. So essentially, this is the what's the word that for someone who could be a hero or a villain? What's that word again? An anti-hero? Is that it?
Anti-hero. Yep.
The hero.
So he's an anti-hero who leads more on the villainous side. So he's like he's the Joker to Batman, but he's the Joker to Shazam.
So he's the Rock.
He's the Rock, essentially.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we all know that Superman's the second weakness to Superman is magic. Okay, so it's kryptonite and it's magic.
Mhm.
Shazam and Black Adam, they get their powers from magic. So when The Rock called out Superman in the Justice League, I was like, Superman ain't got shit on Black Adam.
Okay.
Because their power level is on the same. I'm telling you right now, their power levels, like from the comic books, their power levels on the same.
Okay.
Black Adam can punch and kill the shit out of Superman because all this stuff is magical. And Superman's weakness is magic and kryptonite. Like it's like me fighting up against Ali. I'm like, I'm done. I'm dead,
Okay.
boys. You know, so it's like that's why I'm excited, because if we ever get a versus, if we ever get the League of Super Evil or whatever it's called to the Justice League, and Black Adam's in it, and you see The Rock, it's just like, boys, shit's gonna hit the fan, and I think Superman might be the first one down. You know, it's like, oh, I think it's gonna
Okay.
be wild. I think it's gonna be absolutely wild, boys. So it's gonna be great.
You and the Rock are slowly selling me on this.
Yeah, it's good
Yeah.
shit. But there's a reason why that The Rock has been trying to get this movie rolling for the past 10 years. There's
Yeah.
like, he's more passionate about this than he is about his other stuff. And like, that's crazy.
And you've seen him sell tequila. So he rapped 16 verses about his tequila just now.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yes, I heard
Yeah.
about that.
So that's some crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
They got like how many views the first couple of
oh, it
days?
was ridiculous.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, he has got a well-oiled machine back in him,
Yeah.
man. It's really impressive. I will say though, I mean, maybe this is a concern, and I wonder what you guys think about this. This is my one concern about The Rock being Black Adam, with Black Adam being sort of a not well-known character, and The Rock
Yes.
basically being one of the three most famous people on the entire planet.
Mhm.
Is it possible that The Rock may overshadow Black Adam, and that we won't be able to watch him as a character? Because we have seen this in the universe before. Like a lot of times, Marvel did a great job of this, of hiring people who are famous but not too famous prior to their introduction to the Marvel universe, right?
Yeah.
You know, Sam Jackson, famous, but you know, he could be Nick Fury. Like we've seen this a couple of times with DC, most prominently like when we saw Arnold Schwarzenegger in the
Dark.
Batman movies. Yeah, he wasn't he was Arnold, right?
Yeah.
And the other one that,
He wasn't
as good
Mr.
of-
Freeze. Yeah.
yeah, as good of an actor as he is, I only saw Ben Affleck when I was watching Batman. Like he was a really good actor and he did a really good job with it, but that wasn't Batman. That was Ben Affleck playing Batman. And I wonder if do you have any concerns, either of you, about maybe this happening with Black Adam?
Nelson, what about you first? Let's hear your thoughts.
You know, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
it may sound weird, but I think The Rock knows what to do. I think
Okay.
in regards to this character, I think he knows that he's gonna have to sort of, like, I'm sure he studied this character, what it should be like. So I think he's gonna try and do everything possible to not have the Rock, quote unquote, persona, or Dwayne Johnson persona, if you want to say.
Yeah, it'll be a departure
Prominent in
from
prominent in that movie. So it's going to be Black Adam. This is what he's
Yeah.
supposed to. So I think I don't have any concerns at all. I think, like I said, I think The Rock knows what to do.
Okay. I'm on the same boat with you. Now, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I do realize that DC is using The Rock to kickstart and to refuel their tank.
And
Like,
I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
You take the most famous man in the world and get him behind you, get
Yeah,
him
'cause-
out of the, get him away from Marvel, and
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Because
Because let's be honest here. If he wasn't going to be in a DC movie, Marvel would have picked him up for something.
oh, for sure.
Right?
Mhm.
Anything. Because like after the Zack Snyder supercut, that was the last time DC's tank was full with gas. After that, it's empty. So this has to be the momentum to get the ball rolling again, because they're pushing really hard for these movies. Really hard for these movies. The Batman, The Flash, Black Adam, hell, Peacemaker, because he was a fan favorite, right? The video games that they're making right now, they're making it very similar to the movies, to the characters that people actually like, only because they want to get the ball rolling again, because the ball kind of was stagnant.
Yeah.
For me, it was stagnant.
Yeah.
So,
for me, it was dropped.
right?
Stagnant. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Drop kicked over the fence down the road.
So I think, like you said, Nelson, The Rock knows when to be The Rock and when not to be The Rock. I think this is him knowing that he needs to be The Rock to promote it, but when he's on set, he's focused as Black Adam. He's focused as that character. And I think when we get the actual trailer, we will confirm that theory, if it's The Rock or if it's Black Adam.
Yeah.
in-
And I
in the
hope you
movie.
guys are I hope you guys are right, because I mean,
Mhm.
he's such a force of personality, and he takes over the screen regardless of whatever medium it is. And
Literally, he
Yeah.
just takes up the
yeah,
screen.
he's a mountain of a man. And
Yeah.
it just, like, I watched, I mean, he's Luke the Rock Hobbs in the Fast and Furious franchise,
Yeah.
right? Like, I watched Hobbs and Shaw, and I loved it, and I love the Fast movies now. But he's the Rock in those movies.
Yeah.
So
You can tell too. I think with him being Hobbs, you can see the Rock persona in that movie.
he rock bottoms a guy.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, I hope both of you are right, and I do have that confidence in him to be able to pull it off. I just hope that it shows up on the screen. That's my chief concern about The Rock. Everything else, that's the right play. Like I said, I mean, he's the most famous man in the world, and he can sell anything to anyone. So
Yep.
I know two names of tequilas, and one is his, and then the other one is the one I drank when I was 19. So like,
That's good. Anyways, 1 to 10. Nelson, start with you.
For me, I'm about an 8 on this one.
Woo! Wow.
Just because, again, I don't know much about it. The Rock's in it, and the first look trailer it sold me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm about an 8. So when the actual trailer comes out, we'll see where I am. But as of right now, I'm about an 8.
Okay. Coastal, what about you?
I want to give it an incomplete, because it wasn't even the trailer that sold me. It was The Rock doing his speech at the beginning that sold me on it.
With his epic pose, the
His
whole.
epic pose. Yeah, exactly. Just him in his medium-sized T-shirt, being 265, wearing a shirt too small for me. If I have to give it a number, I'm gonna give it maybe a 6.5, just a little bit lower than the Flash. I want to see more of where The Rock's going towards it, the character itself. You did a better job of selling who Black Adam is than the trailer did.
Okay.
So
okay.
I am a little bit more excited now about it than I was when we first started talking. So
Okay.
we'll put it at 6.5 for me.
That's fair. That's fair.
I want to see the. I sort of want to see it again to see if he raises the eyebrow and.
Oh, he has to. He has to. He has to. Right.
Yeah,
For me,
he did Under the Hood.
For me, this would be a 7. Only reason why is because I've been waiting a long time for this movie. Yet again, we only saw a glimpse of what Black Adam can do, and he vaporized the guy to ashes. So I want to see what happens with them. I want to see what the storyline is going to be, because you have Hawkman in there, you have I think Atom Smasher in there, you have some other, I forget who it is, but you have other very good actors to back up The Rock, right? And let's be honest here, it's the supporting actors that also help make the movie great. You can't just have one good actor.
Oh,
The
no.
whole cast needs to be good. And I think from the cast that they have that was on the trailer, I think this movie will be good. I'm gonna rate it a little bit lower for now because we didn't really see much. We just saw like what 15 seconds of action, not really action, just whatever else. So I'm excited, but there's a lot more to see. So I cannot wait for the real trailer to come out.
Yeah. And the one thing that you're going to know about this movie is they're going to have a blank check to make this movie. They're
Oh,
not going to cut
yes.
any corners on anything. When
Nope.
you have to spend the kind of money you're going to spend to have The Rock back this thing, you
Mhm.
know that there is no accountant that is going to overrule what The Rock says.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, nope.
And let's be honest, I think The Rock is putting in a lot of money in this too. I think he's
Yeah.
also like secretly like co-producing as well. I think it'd be smart for him to do so.
I'd imagine
for-
so.
This
Yeah.
could be the equivalent of how Downey Jr. got his money with Iron Man. So
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
maybe The Rock, The Rock funding it and getting, some of the profit back from that and getting paid for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm The Rock, I'm asking for points. Why? I mean, you can
Yeah.
ask for whatever you want when you're The Rock. So,
Exactly. 100%. So one thing that will ruin the movie for me though is seeing Kevin Hart in it. I'm gonna be honest with you. That will take me out of the experience because we know I love Kevin Hart. I love Kevin Hart. But those two are glued to the hip. Let's just say Kevin Hart is glued to The Rock. Okay. So
Modern
okay,
day twins, man.
Yeah.
exactly. Modern day twins, All right.
You did a Stan Lee cameo somewhere in there.
Oh, that'd be hilarious, actually. Okay, so moving on, let's go into the Peacemaker trailer. So this is the one where you, Coastal, were excited for. We'll talk about the Justice League 2 after this one because I wanna get into the Peacemaker shit. This.
Yeah.
Okay, so who here has watched Suicide Squad, the second one?
I haven't, and now I really, really, really want to.
Boys, you need to get on this because
I know I should have. I should have seen it in theaters, and I'm kicking myself after I saw that trailer. Immediately after I saw that trailer, I started looking into where I can watch that movie right now. I looked to see if they were playing it at any of the second run theaters. I was looking to see if it was on any of the streaming services yet. I saw it's on HBO Max, which isn't available in Canada. Part of this makes me want to, drive to Pembina, North Dakota real quick.
Right.
See if I can VPN my way into seeing this movie. But yeah,
man.
I am really excited now to see Suicide Squad.
Okay, let me tell you right now. When I was watching Suicide Squad 2, and the first time you see John Cena, I automatically saw John Cena. Okay,
Yeah.
Automatically saw John Cena. But the second he started acting, and you got more scenes with the guy, I was like, "This ain't John Cena." Like,
Well,
this is
he went
not him.
all out. He
Yeah.
went all out during
Yeah.
I didn't see the movie, but I saw all of the sort of pomp and circumstance that came around the sort of the opening of the movie. So when the stars of movies do the talk show runs, when they do their red carpet stuff, I saw every one of those things where John Cena was in costume
Yep.
all the time, and he's standing next to his co-stars and they're all in suits and beautiful dresses, and he's got this giant silver ass helmet, right? And he's wearing his uniform, and he looks completely ridiculous. And yeah, just the conviction that he had behind it, I was already sort of sold. And I again, I'm kicking myself that I haven't seen the movie yet, and after I saw the trailer for this, I gotta find a way to see Suicide Squad 2, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now, there's one scene in the movie. I think it's near it's the beginning half of the movie, but there's a kill montage with Peacemaker. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it was that moment that I knew DC was not gonna let go of John Cena. They were not gonna let him go.
Yeah, I have seen him in a couple of things, and just remember when we had talked about movies, we had sort of big upped our Filipino god there, Dave Bautista, and we talked about
Yeah.
how we would be shocked. We were shocked that this guy was funny.
Yeah.
The fact that John Cena is a funny actor comes to no surprise.
Yes.
Comes to no surprise to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that it's a smart move by DC to lock him up and get him in there, because he's got that same work ethic that The Rock does. So he's gonna go in, he's gonna promote the hell out of these movies. The trailer, I mean, we went a little off the rails, but the trailer for Peacemaker. Now, I haven't seen Suicide Squad 2, but the trailer for Peacemaker gave me gigantic James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. That is why I am super pumped to sort of see where Peacemaker goes, because I mean, I was already sold on, like, just as soon as when he's like, I'm cool, I'm, are you cool? Like when he asked that guy that, I was like, okay, I'm in. When they did basically the Happy Gilmore style, taking giant objects and pretending they're your dick, like, hey, look, man, I mean, I'm still an immature child at heart. That'll get me every time.
Like, I'm surprised that you guys didn't watch Suicide Squad 2, because James Gunn directed the damn movie.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, I have no excuse for not having seen it yet. And I promise you, the next time we talk on a podcast about something that is not Commander related, I will have seen that movie. I mean, if I've got to pay $25 to YouTube to watch this thing, I'm going to get it done, because I am super, super pumped about Peacemaker.
Oh man,
I want to see his first appearance.
That's sick. That is absolutely sick. Okay, Nelson, what about you, man? What are your thoughts on this trailer?
I've never seen it. I've never
For
seen
real?
it.
Oh,
Never.
okay. After we record this, you got to watch it, because you will really enjoy it.
And part of me, and we've talked about this off podcast before, is just I guess, what DC has done recently, how to me, it's been disappointing. So anything DC related that comes out, I've been like, I don't know if it's going to be any good. So I just don't have the drive to see anything DC related unless it's Batman.
Okay.
Like, even the Justice.
They got to win you back. So,
yeah. Like Justice League, that was like, was it 2-3 hours of my life I'm not getting back anymore. Even like the first Suicide Squad, I know they had like Will Smith on there and everything, so I thought, okay, maybe this will be something good. No, it wasn't. And what was is it Birds of Prey? Is that the other one?
Yeah.
With Harley Quinn. Yeah, even that one, I was like, I saw bits and pieces of it, and it really didn't interest me. So I think from then on, anything that's not Batman, I had no urge to see. But seeing Black Adam, just that little teaser trailer, if you want to say, that sort of got me interested. So I'm hoping that movie changes my mind about DC, because they really need to up their game in a big way. And getting The Rock and Cena, really, that's a good start, right?
Yeah, I think they're taking steps in the right direction, right? Because I think, segueing into this next topic, they really needed to fix what was going on. And I think the whole thing that started it was the Snyder cut of the Justice League movie, right? Yeah. Now, have you guys seen the Snyder cut of the movie yet?
That is going to be on my television in 15 minutes or so. As soon as we wrap here, that is, after watching, honestly, I was sort of in the same boat as Nelson. I mean, on top of the fact that I was sort of burned down on comic book movies in general, DC had a higher bar for me, because for the comics, I enjoyed the DC universe more than I enjoy the Marvel universe, especially the non-X-Men related Marvel universe. So the universe that the MCU was built upon was not something that I had any sort of particular attachment to, but I did with DC. So to see them have dropped the ball as bad as they had in the last decade or so, I'm the same way as him. I mean, not only was I burned out on movies, I mean, I'm disillusioned, and I'm disillusioned about the direction that DC went with their movies. After watching these, I mean, they're kind of selling me. I really like where they're going with this. I mean, it's just, don't try to out Marvel.
Yeah.
Right? Just, you have got your inherent advantages over them take that, make good movies first. Make good standalone movies. Don't try to shoehorn a universe into this. And if you make good movies, the universe is going to build itself.
Yeah. Agreed. What about you, Nelson, man? Like, have you seen Justice League?
Not the Snyder cut, no.
Not the
The
Snyder
the
Cut.
first one, yes, and again, same thing. Like it was, to me, it wasn't that good for me. And to sort of piggyback off Coastal there about making good movies and then the universe will build itself. I personally think, and I think I voiced this with you guys too, is and in our group, that what they should have done was honestly give Nolan whatever he wanted, and he can build it. But on the other hand, too, I'm sure Nolan sort of wanted to, I'm done with the trilogy. I don't want to be known as the Dark Knight trilogy. I want to sort of build my, start filming, filming other things too. But I think because how Dark Knight Rises ended, they could have started something from there. Like you could have had Robin right after that. Right?
Yeah, it ended in a way where there could have been a huge continuation.
Yeah,
huge continuation. Yeah,
actually,
I 100% agree.
They could have had actually Frank Miller's Dark Knight story come out there, 50 years later or whatever, whatever the timeline is. Then he could have came back, and then that sort of brings into the Batman versus Superman. I think that would have been a perfect way if say Nolan wanted to end his filming, not career, but like his filming time with DC, and that could have been a good way to end it, I think.
No, but, I 100% agree with you, man. 100% agree with you.
But you know what? I'll probably see the trailer after this. I gotta find somewhere where I can see the Snyder cut. I'll try it out. I know it's 4 hours long, give or take.
Yeah, it's a 4-hour watch. One thing I do appreciate though, like it breaks it up into chapters. It breaks it up. So you like the movie's broken up into like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, blah 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 blah. So kind of how the story's progressing, and it's not just one solid like go. So whenever you see a chapter, whatever, you can pause the movie, take a 15-minute break, and get back to it if you really wanted to.
And also, my one big, I guess, my concern would be is, and I know with the Flash movie, if this is how it is, will there be a main timeline, or is it just going to be, nope, we're going to do that, you could do this, you could do this, you can do this? Because that would be one of my concerns too, is like, what if there is any the main timeline in the DC universe? Like, is it Snyder's? Is it going to be the Batman, Black? Like, I don't know who's going to be. It's they've done so much. I guess wrong would be the bad word, but wrong in my eyes for me anyway, that I don't know what's what.
Okay.
So timeline wise, I don't know which timeline they're going to use, if they can use any, or they're just going to start off fresh. Here we go.
I think with the whole Flash movie, it might be their new 52. I'm gonna be honest, it might be their new 52. Yeah, I think the Flash movie will be their hard reset, and whatever timeline the Flash lands on, that might be the main DC timeline, and then everything else after that, if it doesn't fit in, it'll be its own timeline. It'll be its own alternate timeline.
It's like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if there's anything we've learned and we know from the comics, is that anything can be retconned, right?
100%.
Only the running rule always in comics was only Bucky stays dead, and then he's not dead. So any rule can be broken, any timeline can be retconned.
For sure.
That or any timeline can be connected.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what it is.
Because like, how do you connect Phoenix's Joker right into that whole thing, or what do you do, right? Because I guess technically, after, if we're gonna, let's say the Dark Knight, Joker's not dead, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and speaking of connecting, and Nolan, have you ever heard that theory of that Christopher Nolan has already built the Infinity Stones with his movies?
What?
You've never heard that theory?
No.
So there's the 6 Infinity Stones, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a certain aspect of his movies that sort of expand on each of those stones. So I'm just going to pull it up real quickly here. So the Reality Stone is Memento.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Right? Okay, yeah.
The Soul Stone is the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yep.
And then the Mind is Inception.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Time, of course, is Tenet.
yeah.
Power is Dunkirk,
Mhm.
and space is Interstellar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Very nice. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I still have to see Memento. I heard that's a really good movie.
Memento's fantastic.
Yeah.
Memento's fantastic, and yeah, that's sort of, it's one of those ones where it's like, after he made that, I've said before, and I said earlier in this podcast that with directors, if you direct something I like, I'm open to anything you make going forward. And yeah, Nolan doesn't miss, man.
Nope, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
if you, I'm sure you guys watched Interstellar,
Very good.
the docking of the ship onto that floating, was it space station or whatever. Like that was probably the most, like, was it 5-6 minutes of like intense like cinematography that I've seen. And
He
then
doesn't
just
miss.
nope, and just spinning and spinning that thing just to dock on. But yeah, no, he does not miss at all.
Now, going into the next topic, because we all love Christopher Nolan and shit. How can DC fix itself? Does it need Christopher Nolan? Like, does it need like? We'll go around the board here, but like, what's the right direction that DC needs to take, and what does it need to do to fix itself? Okay, so Coastal, let's start with you.
I think they're going in the right direction. I think that
Yeah.
they're taking the right steps right now. I think it's, don't try to out MCU, right? Don't try to out Disney, the House of Mouse, right? Take care of your own house, right? You have got some of the greatest characters ever created under your umbrella. Start telling really good stories with those characters. Never mind trying to run with, don't keep up with the Millers. Just tell your own stories. And I think that they're doing that. I think they're doing a good job of that right now. In terms of, I really do like what I've seen with all of the trailers that they have there. Now, of course, the execution of the movies themselves is going to be something different, but I think they've got the right people behind some of their projects, right? They've got James Gunn, they've got Abrams, they've got Matt Reeves, like they've got a lot of people who they had Nolan before, right? So they've got the right idea there in terms of get the right people who are going to tell the stories right, and then get out of the way. Right. So let's hope that that's what we're doing. I mean, we do obviously live in a world where revenue has to outdo expenses, but I mean, if you can go into it without that as the priority, I think that it'll turn out the way that you hope for. So
Okay.
I think they're going in the right direction. That's me personally.
That's
But we'll
that's a
see.
solid answer. That's actually that's a very, very intellectual, solid answer. I like that a lot. I respect that.
It's rare. I mean, I'm not quite Miss Christopher Nolan. Sometimes I miss.
Yeah. But okay, so what about you, Nelson? What about you? What do you think is the right direction, and how should DC fix it?
I think it will, to me, it's going to be based on the 3 trailers that we've seen. Batman, it's Batman. So I think that is when I think where I think even the casual fan knows who Batman is. So I think right there, that should grab a good chunk of people, if not most of the people. Okay, it's Batman. So we'll see how that goes. You have The Rock in Black Adam. And for me, like I said, I have no idea who Black Adam is, except for he was in Shazam. You have the most well-known person in the world playing the character. And again, I have no expectations of the movie because I don't know what it's about. And then I think also too, I think the sleeper, well, I said the sleeper was Black Adam, but I think for the Flash, depending on how the movie does, you can actually take that movie into different timelines and storylines. So I think, like I said, Black Adam is probably going to be the sleeper, but I think the main focus, I think, will be the Flash, just for the fact that that is where you can break off now into different storylines. And like Cole said, get the right people to do it, and then just move out of the way and let them do it. So to me, yeah, I think they're going the right direction. They got the right movies, I think, to sort of bring DC back into the fold. Little baby steps. They got the right actor, sorry. And like I said, Flash and if they are going with the Flashpoint Paradox storyline, I think that is probably going to be the biggest key for them to get themselves moving forward. So I think if that does if it's very successful, I think there you can just branch off into whatever storyline you want to do, and then you can take it from.
That's awesome. That's actually awesome. So I agree with both you. I agree with both you 100%. The only thing I would add to it is let the directors do what they want. We've seen Marvel movies where the director has free run. And when they do that, they hit over the fence every single time.
Imagine if they told James Gunn, hey man, maybe Guardians shouldn't be so funny.
Right? Like, come on. Like, let the directors do what they want. And we've seen in the DC side of things, the producers are pulling all the strings, man. And that's affecting the movies so much, to the point where they're not really enjoyable. The storyline doesn't make sense. They're switching directors almost near the end of the movie. Now a new director's got to pull something out of its ass to make a movie whole, right? Like, let the directors find their vision and implement it. Let them do what they want to do. They're doing this project not because it's a paycheck. They're doing this project because they love what they're doing, and they love the franchise. They love the character. They know how the character needs to be run. The producers, they care about the money. Is it going to make us? No, it's not. Okay, we got to change it. All right, Marvel's doing big action. We got to do big action scenes. Marvel's doing it. Like you said, ignore what Marvel's doing. Stay in your lane. Let the director do what they want. I guarantee if you do this, amazing things can happen. James Gunn with the new Suicide Squad movie. He did what he wanted. He tried to do as many things, as many outlandish things as he could to fit in the movie. He didn't have enough time because there's so many stuff he wanted to do, but he tried to fit it all in. And guess what?
Get Peacemaker out of that.
You get Peacemaker. You get an amazing movie that both you still need to see. And after you see it, I guarantee you'll be like, this is a James Gunn movie. This is a Guardians of the Galaxy-esque movie. This is a whatever he wanted to do, he actually got to do it kind of movie. And all the DC movies need to be that way. Let the director have free run. Let them do whatever the fuck they want, because they know their vision. They know what it needs to look like. They know how to make a story have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The second you put the producers and executives into that, they're going to take away the middle, put it with something else, and it's not going to be a whole storyline anymore. And we've seen it happen for almost all of the DC movies. Let's be honest here. For almost all the DC movies. There's only maybe a handful of them that have not been affected. That's the first Wonder Woman movie. That is Man of Steel. Aquaman movie, the Suicide Squad 2, and Zack Snyder.
That's not a lot.
That's not a lot.
That's a low batting percentage.
Out of all their movies,
yeah,
that is a very bad percent score. So in my all of our stuff together, I think it's so far it's heading in the right direction. From what I've seen, it's heading in the right direction. It's just that.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic because they did drop the ball pretty hard on some of my favorite characters. So yeah, well, and I mean, I didn't mind it, but yeah, the first time that Batman and Superman are on a screen together should have been significantly more epic than it was. I like I said, I didn't mind BVS, but I can see why other people had issues with it. Yeah. So knowing that, you know what, all you can do is dust yourself off, take the standing 8 count, and keep punching, right? And let's hope that they do that.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's just move into the closing remarks. So is there anything that you guys want to say? Anything you want to go over before we head off? Noz, let's start with you, man.
Just a line from one of the Batman animated series cartoon shows that really stuck with me to this day still. I don't know if you remember, it was the when Batman supposedly died and Joker had like a funeral for him and everything. And he wasn't really in his usual Joker mood because Batman is dead. So his he had a punchline. He had a line where it was, "Without Batman, crime had no punchline," which was a really cool line.
That's a really good line. That's a really good line.
Like they go hand in hand, really. Like
Yep.
I for me anyway, I don't see any other comic book hero / villains that don't fit as well as those two.
And I do hope we see either the Joker come back to the DC universe, because
Well, he has to. Well, probably later on. I think having the Riddler come out as one of the villains, I think is good. Because I think with every Batman movie, everyone's assuming Joker or Catwoman or something. But having the Riddler as one of the it looks like the main villain is really good. I think introduce someone new but not new.
yes, I agree. What about you, Coastal? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts on this. Listen, man, Rachel Dawes said it best. It's not who you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you. These trailers look awesome and their intentions are great, but we all know the road to hell is paved with good intentions, man. So get through it, execute these movies, let them do their vision, and how these movies look at the end. That's what we're going to judge them by. These trailers, I mean, I'm hyped, but if it comes out and it's a raw product 2 years from now,
Yeah.
right, the ball's dropped even further. It's near impossible to recapture a lost customer. So if you do it twice, they're out and you're not getting them back. So this looks like a good time, but it's a really important time for DC. So I hope, as the 17-year-old comic book fan of these guys, I hope they knock it out of the park.
Anyways, Coastal, my man, where can people find you, beautiful man?
You can find me at Coast Dynasty on Instagram. That is COASTDY Nasty. You can also find me at powerhouse.ph/Coast Dynasty. What about my guy? Not quite 70, more than 68, Noslin. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Noslin69ers. Yes, Noslin69ers. I'll be on Instagram. And back to you, Caramel Thunder.
And you can find me on Instagram at caramel with 2 L's on Instagram. You can find all of us on Instagram at Unhinged Vibes. Our website is in our description below. Yet again, our website is going to be under construction. I'm changing some things, adding some new things, possibly putting some deck lists on there. So we'll see what the fuck's going on, because I don't even know what the fuck's going on, but we will find out soon. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this very long episode of the DC Fandom breakdown of the trailers. I'm actually super happy because this is the first time we had the 3 Amigos, 3 Musketeers, the Boys to Men all on one episode. This is Browntown and it's here to stay.
I was worried we weren't going to get to 30 minutes. So, I mean, I am glad that we got to where we did.
Oh, but yeah, this is a long episode. And yet again, I'm not editing any of it. So anyways, guys, thank you for listening on today's episode of the Unhinged Vibes Podcast. We will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
That's Caramel with 2 L's.